Hey, welcome back to the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge. Today we have Pocahontas 2, Journey to a New World. Obviously, that's not to the New World, because that's where she is, technically, at least in regard to those exploring from Europe. This is from 1998. That's a sequel to the very popular original theatrical release. This is a direct-to-video sequel. It's an hour and 16 minutes long, and it has very little to do with actual real history. You know what? I didn't bother looking to see if she actually would have ever gone to Europe, but I really doubt she did. I don't know. It just certainly, and if it happened, it certainly didn't happen like this. It's not a good sequel. I'm just going to be right up front with that. The animation is direct-to-video level. It's a little better than your average, 20-minute toy commercial cartoon on Saturday mornings. But it has flourishes of the original. Like, they just lifted pieces of animation of just her hair flowing in the wind that they just sort of seem to recreate pretty well, because that's kind of her trademark, wind blowing through her hair. But beyond that, a lot of the movements, a lot of everything else just really didn't work. It's passable. People who don't care about the level of animation won't notice it. Well, no, they'll notice it. If you put them side by side, you'll notice it. But either way, when it comes to the story, well, I'll tell you, Pocahontas, is still back living outside the Jamestown settlement. And the movie starts out with John, or James, or whatever, John Smith. I keep getting Jamestown and John mixed up for some reason. But John Smith is back in England, back in London, and so is what's his face? I can't say his name. Ratcliffe, played by David Ogden Stiers from MASH. Charles Winchester from MASH, and he's perfectly cast in that, because he can play the pompous bad guy really well. Again, I shouldn't say again, because I didn't even say anything yet. The voices are great. Irene Bedard, who does the voice of Pocahontas, has returned. Mel Gibson has not returned, but he brought his brother in to fill in for him, because he sounds exactly like him. So yeah, his brother Donald plays John Smith. But going back to John Smith, as I was just saying, bringing this all the way back around, John Smith gets killed off in the beginning, or so we think. Come on, we know. I'm not spoiling anything in here. When a person falls to their death and you hear a splash, no matter how high it is in a cartoon, they're not dead. It's a Wile E. Coyote rule. You don't see a body, you're not dead. But anyway, the news gets back to Jamestown that he's dead, and she's sad about it, even though, it's winter time and they're still wearing pretty much nothing as they walk around and sled, and characters that were important in the last one, that were like her friends and things like that. Her friend, really, there's a little bit of emotional connection there. There's still distrust between the settlers and the natives. They still keep calling them savages, and there's still that, but the white guys are savages too, we shouldn't trust them. They're making an attempt to show that distrust that we saw in the first film, by each of them seeing the foreign element as monsters, and yes, pretty much the Europeans are coming over there to destroy what they can, and take what they can without any consideration for anybody else, as history has shown us. But yeah, he for some reason, what's his name? Where is he? Why is he so far down the line, credit-wise? Billy Zane plays John Rolfe, who I believe was a real person. He comes to show up, and he tries to get the king, or the chief, wants to have the chief come visit London with him, to visit with him, to create a connection. But at the same time, we learn that about the same time as Pocahontas finds out that they're also sending an invading armada to wipe them out. Not sure how that's good business to do both things at once, but hey, imperialism, whatever. So yeah, Pocahontas, the king doesn't want to go, and so apparently they got mixed up because they don't know that Pocahontas is a woman, or in reality she was a little girl, but in the movie here she's a woman, and she decides, okay, I'm going to go to Europe. I'm going to go to London, and you don't really see much of the trip. It had to be incredibly overwhelming to be on a ship for months at a time, and then in a few seconds suddenly they're in London, and there's a big song and dance of her just looking at the craziness of London, thinking about how many tribes live here, and look at how they build their houses, and there are so many paths, and everybody's just like, oh, look at this exotic woman. Some of the guys are like, ooh, she's hot, and their wives are like, stop looking. And other people are not as lecherous, but yeah, she's pretty much a freak. Showing up with her dark skin and wearing almost no clothing compared to them because they have so many puffy and skirts and corsets and God knows what else. Shakespeare shows up in a cameo for a second during the middle of that song and dance number. The whole town takes place, and it becomes like a layered piece that just devolves into cacophony. The song music in this, I wish I could say that was a high point, but music in this is not great either. There's nothing memorable about it. I mean, except for that song I just mentioned, but there's nothing good memorable about these songs. Sorry to say. I don't know what it is, but there's no Color of the Wind. Even though the Color of the Wind follows her around. By the way, wind and leaves, even though there's snow covering every part of Virginia there, where they are. Is it Virginia, Jamestown, Virginia? Yeah. There's snow everywhere. Somehow she has the time to do a song, and the wind picks up random leaves and swirls them around her. And then it happens again when she's in London. And of course, Radcliffe does his best to discredit her and undermine her efforts, and she really just wants to tell the king, please don't send an armada to kill all my people. That's her main goal. They dress her up. They even powder her face. So, because, you gotta look more white to be acceptable. You can't be looking so savage. And she doesn't understand that when she puts on the pantaloons and everything else, that she's running around in what everybody else considers their underwear, even though she's just added a whole new layer of clothing that she's never worn before. Not everybody, but John Rolfe and others are kind of embarrassed to see her fully clothed from head to toe in what is considered underwear. And she's just excited, so yeah, that she's wearing different clothes because she's had the same outfit for 2 movies now. So, and she looks tremendous in this new outfit as she's taken to the ball, which is totally put together in an effort to humiliate her and discredit her, because they'll see what a savage she is compared to everything else. At least that's Radcliffe's, plan. Other stuff happens. I'm not going to tell you what else, but other stuff happens, and then happily ever after. But as I've told you before, John Smith comes back, and she's already started to get over him a little bit because she's got a little bit of a connection with John Rolfe. John Rolfe has more of a connection with her because he really likes her. So which one is she going to choose? They don't deliberate too much over it. But yeah, I'm not going to tell you which one she ends up with. But John Smith and John Rolfe and, Did she go to England? Now that I'm thinking, maybe I did hear a story she did go to England. You know what? There's something you can do. This kind of stuff leads to learning and research, and I didn't do either one of those things, but you can. This is a little thing, and if you find out that she did, comment. Tell me all about it, because I'm going to move on to the next video after this. I'm probably not going to research that one either. But I do look at IMDb. By the way, some of the other... Jane Stapleton appears in this. She plays like Mrs. Jenkins. She's a little old lady kind of thing. But Jane Stapleton was an All in the Family. Edith Bunker. Like I said, Billy Zane plays John Rolfe. Jim Cummings plays King James. Finola Hughes plays Queen Anne. Yeah, it's just a bunch of different ones. And weirdly enough, Brad Garrett plays a very super tall, like 8-9 foot tall Indian dude, Native American dude. And he accompanies Pocahontas. Again, they didn't need... I mean, maybe he was a known actor in the 90s when this was made in 1998, but he literally has no lines except for at the very end. I'm not going to tell you what they were, but he says 4 words, and 2 of them it's 2 words the same. It's like pip pip. I'm going to say it, pip pip, whatever. But yeah, he plays this menacing Indian, but makes no dialogue whatsoever. So Brad Garrett got paid a buttload of money to say 4 words. Way to go, Brad. All right. Yeah, so it's a good cast. Animation and the music are lacking, but yeah, that's what you kind of want from a good Disney princess type film. I think this is an era in which they try to do a lot of cashing in direct-to-video with a cheaper budget, and you don't see that with Frozen 2, that kind of thing. They go all out and they spend that money, or anything with Pixar, obviously. If they're going to do a sequel, they're going to keep the quality and not just shuffle it off to direct-to-video, which is a whole new market now that we're all semi in quarantine or not in quarantine, whatever we are, whatever stage we are in at the time you watch this. It could be later than I planned for you to see it, but at this point we don't know which way we're going. And home video is a whole lot hotter right now and accessible than going to the movies. So things are going to change. Anyway, let's pick tomorrow's episode of the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge. 57, another low one. 57, because we had number 1 yesterday. God, these all run together. Okay, 57 is Big City Greens. Big City Greens. It's a series. Where is that? Can you see it? Big City Greens? Yeah. 57. So, I'm guessing it's a series about green things in the big city. That is just my uneducated guess. And so we'll watch probably 2 or 3 episodes of that and come back here tomorrow and we'll talk about it. All right, I'll see you then. Bye.